chavales. Este viernes toca Calling All Devs. Jugador contra jugador. Y... Dentro vídeo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Calling All Devs, our Q&A series where we take questions from you, the Star Citizen community, and pose them directly to our developers. Now, this month, we are talking PvP, player versus player. There are folks who want it. There are folks who want to desperately avoid it. We're going to talk about the opportunities for both of them and how they're going to coexist in a unified...
Vale, dice que, bueno, que como siempre Calling All Devs consiste en una serie de preguntas que le podemos hacer a los desarrolladores. Y ahora la cuestión viene que el jugador contra jugador, hay gente que quiere evitarlo, gente que quiere que lo ansía, y vamos a ver cómo puede coexistir todo eso.
persistent universe. And so, of course, we are starting with our very own Mr. Todd Pappy. Todd, how you doing?
Hi, buddy. Good.
You ready to talk about PvP?
I am.
All right.
I am.
Let's start at the... We all know how it works now. You know, the Star Citizens, they've played it. We don't need to talk about how it works now. Let's talk about the future of PvP. Where is Star Citizen PvP going?
Sabemos cómo está funcionando ahora, pero nos interesa ver el futuro. ¿A dónde está yendo el futuro del PvP en Star Citizen?
Okay. So I think from that standpoint, you have to think about how different solar systems are connected to each other. So, and obviously, Stanton is a somewhat lawful system. It's got UEE versus Pyro. It's supposed to be a very unlawful system.
Lo primero que hay que hablar es de cómo los sistemas están conectados, y aquí hay varios sistemas, y hablar del sistema Stanton, por ejemplo, que es un sistema legal, y el sistema como Pyro, que es un sistema sin ley.
Or lawless system. And then, so where players want to be able to find the PvP versus where players don't want to find it, you know, they want to focus more on PvE. I would start there. So they start at, you know, what system should I be in? What system, you know, do I want to go to? And
if I'm in Terra, I probably should feel pretty safe. If I'm in Pyro,
right.
I should be looking over my shoulder.
Exactly.
Dice que están aclarando, ¿no?, de que eso definiría dónde quieres ir, ¿no? Entonces, en el caso de que si estás en Terra, pues estarás seguro, te deberías sentir bastante seguro, pero si estás en Pyro deberías de mirar por encima de tu hombro.
Exactly. So, and you know, with that, it basically comes down to...
O sea, deberías de proteger tu espalda, por así decirlo.
We'll never be able to 100%, you know, guarantee, you know, hey, you're 100% safe, and frankly, we don't want to do that. And
no vamos a garantizar que estés totalmente 100% seguro. De hecho, no queremos hacer eso.
I would put it more on the scale of, let's say, 90 to 10, or, you know, and maybe in a lawless area, it's you know, the complete opposite. It's 10 to 90 kind of thing. So,
claro, dice que en aquí me quedé pillado, porque dijo 90 to 10, pero que sería básicamente un 9 de 10 de probabilidades de que no te pase nada, pero en Pyro sería todo lo contrario.
We never want it to be a 0. We never want it to be 100%. So, but even then, in Stanton, you know, we still want there to be areas for people to look for PvP. We still want there to be areas that are, you know, mostly geared toward PvE. So it will really just depend on kind of how the player goes about looking for them, and then, you know, are you turning off the monitored zones? Are you know, basically out in the middle of nowhere? So, and if so, then yeah, then I think it should happen there.
Está hablando de que aunque Stanton sea un sistema en el que lleva bastantes leyes, que siguen queriendo que exista la posibilidad de que haya espacios de PvP, y de que eso dependerá de los jugadores, de cómo abordar la situación, de, por ejemplo, apagar la monitorización. Con los satélites sabéis que se puede hacer eso. Vamos a ver qué más nos cuenta.
Then we obviously have like abandoned space stations and Jumptown and these...
Korea, the hotspots.
Exactly.
Y también tenemos una estación de piratas de bandidos, que bueno, viene siendo Greenhest y Youngtown, ¿no?
So we have certain hotspots, within the system that I still think they're 100% valid, and that people should be able to go there and try that out.
Y está comentando de que pues serían zonas calientes donde seguramente los jugadores podían intentar hacer ese PvP allí, ¿no?
It serves a double purpose.
But-
It attracts the people looking for it to those places, and it lets the people who want to avoid those places.
Yeah, exactly.
O sea, habrá gente que se sienta atraída por esos lugares y otra gente que directamente los trate de evitar.
And and ideally in the star map in the future, where you kind of see where like hotspots of of activity, and then that kind of can gear or at that point in time you can choose your route, with that information.
Dice que en el futuro vamos a poder ver en el Star Map esa clase de puntos calientes en el Star Map y que de alguna manera pues trazar nuestras rutas si necesitamos evadir esas situaciones de conflicto.
So in the past, I know that we've talked about like a PvP slider, and we're not going to have anything that's player facing, but obviously for us as developers, we still want to be able to tune, how much, if the players are gearing more towards PvP, based off their actions, then that's more of the content that we would be pushing towards them, whether those be bounties or assassination missions or those types of things.
Okay.
But if the players are not geared towards that, then, that to me is basically their choices matter, in kind of the content that we're providing towards.
A ver, un momento, por aquí tengo que volver a leer esto porque se escucha bastante mal, ¿vale? Se escucha bastante mal el audio, entonces me está costando un poquito.
How much, if the players are gearing more towards PvP,
Y aquí se puede activar esto, la pregunta, porque si no...
based off their actions, then that's more of the content that we would
A ver.
have anything that's player facing, but,
Un poquito más para atrás.
with that information. So in the past, I know that we've talked about like a PvP slider, and we're not going to have anything that's player facing, but obviously for us as developers, we still want to be able to tune, how much, if the players are gearing more towards PvP, based off their actions, then that's more of the content that we would be pushing towards them, whether those be bounties or assassination missions or those types of things.
Okay.
But if the players are not geared towards that, then that to me is basically their choices matter, in kind of the content that we're providing towards.
Vale, sí, o sea, escuché bien. Entonces la cuestión que dice es que efectivamente si los jugadores, por ejemplo, que deseamos tener encuentros PvP, o sea, tenemos en ese sentido, tenemos esa tendencia, pues que se nos va a proveer más contenido de misiones de asesinato, misiones de casa recompensas y demás. Y luego, en caso de que no sea eso, o sea, de que no sea así, como que quieren dar a los jugadores o sea, de que el contenido que van a recibir, si quieren alejarse del PvP, no va a ser tan relacionado con el PvP, en plan misiones de bounty hunter, de asesinato y tal. O sea que al final, pues, imagino que será un poco como la reputación, que dejan eso que quieren dejar al jugador la posibilidad de escoger esas misiones, ¿no? De escoger ese destino, como ese rumbo.
Towards them and pushing, towards them. So, and then as far as even just how the fights play out. So let's say you and I are fighting PvP, and let's say I have a warrant, for my arrest.
No vamos a decir que tú y yo estamos jugando PvP y yo tengo una orden de búsqueda.
Because I've been a bad boy, and you killed me, so therefore the reward that you're getting.
Y tú me matas, ¿no? Entonces está la recompensa por matarme.
For taking me out should be higher because
debería ser elevada.
You're going up against another player.
Porque vas contra otro jugador. O sea, se refiere que la recompensa debería ser más elevada contra otro jugador que contra un NPC. Entiendo.
Then you'll be able to, when physical inventory comes in, then anything that I'm carrying with me, you'll be able to take.
Cuando el inventario físico venga, o sea, se introduzca en el juego, cualquier cosa que yo lleve encima debería ser capaz de llevártela.
And it might be in damage, or it might be in disrepair, or other things happen, during the fight, but it'll be up to you to choose if you want to take it or not.
Claro, podrás pillar movidas de reparación o depende de el daño que hayas recibido tal o que hayas hecho. Eh, pero en general deberías de ser capaz de escoger si quieres llevarte eso o no.
And so that gives the players, different ways to collect rewards or basically loot, the bodies or the ships.
Y eso daría diferentes opciones al jugador de poder obtener recompensas, rebuscar en los cadáveres, o pues sería otra forma de recompensas, ¿no?
Based off of that action.
Okay. I imagine physicalized inventory is probably going to play a bigger role in choosing your loadouts and such too. At
Yes.
least for the maybe not for the ship version, but for the FPS version, when you can only
And for both.
what you take with you, as Yoda would say. I imagine
Yeah.
that's going to become pretty important.
Está diciendo Discolando que imagino que cuando salga el inventario local será bastante importante la elección de objetos que lleves encima.
Yeah, and I think that will be somewhat of a game changer as far as this is a new way of playing. Because basically taking that global inventory out of play, when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any food or you don't have any ammo or you don't have any of this stuff, like you need to basically prepare for the worst and always be thinking about, okay, what's the situation I'm going to be going into.
Claro, dice Top Papi que efectivamente el inventario local va a ser algo que va a ser un cambio al juego importante. Porque ya no será el hecho de que tienes todo en tu inventario global ahí a lo bestia, sino que cuando vayas a una situación tendrás que prepararte para esa situación, prepararte para el peor escenario. Llevar comida, llevar armadura, o sea, llevar armamento, o sea, no vas a poder... o sea, en medio de la nada no vas a poder acudir al inventario global como hacemos ahora, ¿no?
Do I have the right equipment?
Así que es como jugar a un juego diferente, o sea, va a ser jugar a un juego, desde mi punto de vista, de verdad.
For it. And if the answer is no, then you might die, or you have a higher likelihood of dying.
Gotcha. So, if I'm understanding correctly, I'm just going to wrap you up here. Make sure I got it. For folks who are looking for PvP opportunities, there will be holistic solutions, places like Pyro, places like Jump Point, places like Korea, places that encourage and draw that activity to it. For people
Yes.
who want to avoid it, there will be lawful systems like Terra and Stanton, it's like that, where they won't be 100% protected from it, but it will be highly discouraged, and they should be able to
Correct.
play most of their play experience, free from potential molestation from other players.
Está comentando Discolando, para resumir, que para aquellos o sea, para que nos enteremos bien, ¿no? Que va a ser el PvP consistirá en que si el jugador, o sea, va a haber zonas para aquellos que busquen el PvP que animen a eso, ¿no? Que se presten para hacer PvP, pues como Jumptown, como Pyro, alrededores de Gringes, etcétera. Y luego va a haber otros sitios también, que pues tipo Terra, que serán sistemas con una ley dura, en el sentido de que, o sea, con un buen sistema legal. En el sentido de que pues vas a poder hacer la mayoría de tus actividades sin ser molestado por otros jugadores. Pero no tiene por qué ser otros jugadores, acordaos también en NPCs. Pero en el sentido... No sé si... Bueno, porque ha dicho por otros jugadores. O sea, igual efectivamente sí solo se refiere a jugadores. En este caso igual sí que nos encontramos Ninetales o cosas así, ¿no? Eso habría que verlo. Pero bueno, que en general vamos a poder disfrutar de una experiencia de Star Citizen con pocas posibilidades de que nos encontremos con un jugador que nos vaya a atacar si escogemos ese camino, ¿no?
Physicalized inventory is going to be have a big effect by providing rewards for people who come who will come after you for PvP, and then forcing you to choose what you take with you.
Exactly.
From a strategic standpoint.
Claro, y además el inventario físico va a cambiar la forma en la que, o sea, aparte de poder lotear cosas de la gente, de los cadáveres y demás, pues también te va a forzar a tener que escoger lo que quieres llevar encima desde un punto de vista estratégico.
And then
the green and basically the green zones. So like we will be adjusting the way that the green zones work and making them more law based. So if you do act up in the city, then there's turrets that are there or security comes after you. So
Y luego quieren adaptar lo que viene siendo el sistema de... O sea, quieren adaptar las zonas verdes, es decir, las zonas de armisticio, para que se basen más en un sistema legal. Es decir, si tú cometes un crimen, un delito, pues la seguridad de la zona, las autoridades de la zona vendrán a darte pal pelo.
there's other aspects like that will come into play.
So there will always be the potential for PvP in these safe places. It's just the folks who want it will have to really work for it in those lawful places, like in the heart of the empire.
Correct.
And stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think with that, it's again, I like there being tension within the game. It could be very low, tension, but I still want there to be that tension.
Right.
Dice además Todd Papi que quiere que haya tensión que vayas con el culo apretado en el juego, en el sentido de que igual no tan apretado, pero que sigue estando ahí la posibilidad de que pase algo, ¿no? Que quiere que exista esa tensión ahí en el ambiente, aunque estés en una zona súper legal.
There, so something could pop off, and then you have to deal with it,
Claro, y de repente pues algo puede hacer y de repente tienes que lidiar con ello, ¿no?
The circumstances at that time. So, that's.
Oh, and then the PvP slider is an internal tool instead of a forward-facing tool for the players.
Yeah.
Used to determine what type of missions and everything that are available to it. It's almost seems like a reputation meter, sort of like if you.
Claro, es lo que comentaba yo antes, ¿no? Que dice que bueno, antes había un slider, una barra que se supone que querían diseñar para que tú movieras la cantidad de PvP que querías, ¿no? Entonces lo que han hecho es que eso lo van a quitar y que ahora sería como una especie, o sea, estaría más dentro del juego, lo cual me alegro. Y se basará más en las misiones que vayas pillando y tendrás pues una serie y que funcionará más como un sistema de reputaciones, ¿no?
If you get higher PvP reputation, we provide you more PvP opportunities. And if you
Claro, si tienes más reputación de PvP, pues te vamos a dar
have
más
a lower
oportunidades de
PvP
PvP.
reputation, then we
Y si tienes el contrario, poca reputación de PvP, pues entonces tranquilidad.
provide you more PvE opportunities.
O sea, tranquilidad no, PvE, ¿no? Misiones PvE. Contra la máquina.
Correct.
Cool. All right, I think we're going to call Rich Tyler to talk about the inventory stuff because I think there's more to learn there. Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to be here on Calling All Devs. Thanks. Bye.
Take care.
Estoy leyendo por ahí, Harlow. Si consigue la misma tensión que con el 30K, vamos a flipar. Aquí tengo algo que decir. Tengo algo que decir con los 30K. Y claro, porque ahora vamos a tener el inventario local. ¿Sí? Pero... ¿perderemos todo lo que llevamos en el personaje con el 30K también? Chan, 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 chan.
All right, thank you so much, Todd. Now we're moving on to our combat pillar director, Mr. Richard Ty. We're going to talk to him about inventory. Hey, Richard, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We're talking PvP today. So, talking PvP, and this may seem like a weird slot in there, but physicalized inventory, external inventory, being able to only have that which you take with you. Talk to us about where we're at with that current development.
Que nos hable dónde estamos en el actual desarrollo del inventario físico.
So physical inventory, well, first thing I want to say about physical inventory is how it ties into the core combat gameplay loop and why it exists and why we're doing it. And, because obviously some people think, well, what? Inventory? Like, how does that tie into combat, right? That doesn't kind of make logical sense. So
bueno, lo primero que quieren hablar es de por qué el inventario físico es tan importante para el combate.
First off, from a high level point of view, you've got to think about what is the core gameplay loop for Star Citizen in terms of the FPS combat loop. And the FPS combat loop it starts way before you even get into combat. And that is, what equipment do I have? What guns do I have?
Claro, dice que para lo que es el planteamiento base del FPS en Star Citizen, el combate FPS empieza mucho antes de que haya tiros, o sea, o de que te pongas a ellos, sino el primer paso es preparar el equipo que vas a usar.
Resistances am I going to come up against? What environment am I going to be in? And this also...
Claro, qué sistema voy a ir o qué ambiente, a qué entorno me voy a enfrentar, ¿no? Pues imaginaros frío, calor.
ties into things like actor status and other things, and food and drink. So at the moment, when you're in Star Citizen, essentially you can open your mobiGlas and you can change your equipment at the drop of a hat. You can have 1,000 med pens in there, and you can heal indefinitely. But as you can see with the food and drink system that we've added, and the actor status in terms of the environmental actor status in terms of hypothermia effects and hyperthermia effects, you can start to see kind of the direction that we're heading in.
Está comentando de que ahora mismo pues en el inventario local puedes tener 1200 melpens si te da la gana, puedes estarte curando infinito, pero claro que ya podemos percibir un poquito de lo que está pasando con el tema del sistema de entorno, ¿no? De la climatología, que cómo afecta al personaje, y también en el tema de la comida, que solo podemos llevar X cantidad de comida encima, pues 2 botellas de agua, 2 raciones.
And the reason that is that before you get into that combat scenario, you need to be thinking ahead and going, okay, what kind of environment, what kind of situations do I think that I'm going to encounter? So, am I going to need a long range weapon? Am I going to need a short range weapon? Well, I'm going to need ammunition for those weapons. Should I pick ballistics versus energy? Because eventually energy will replenish as it does in the ships. In terms of
Cuidado, cuidado. Aquí acabo de decir una cosa importante. Acabo de decir una cosa importante, ¿vale? Vamos a ver aquí un momento, porque ha dicho una cosa que no se sabe hasta ahora. Y lo que ha comentado es importante a la hora de escoger el arma, pues si quieres larga distancia, corta distancia, si quieres llevar balística o energía. Y ha dicho porque la energía eventualmente se recupera, eh, pero no sé si se ha dicho que se recupera en las naves o no. Vamos a ver.
scenario, you need to be thinking ahead and going, okay, what kind of environment, what kind of situations do I think that I'm going to encounter? So, am I
¿Qué
going to need a
situación voy a
long range weapon?
encontrar?
Am I going to need a short range weapon? Well, I'm going to need ammunition for those weapons. Should I pick ballistics versus energy? Because eventually energy will replenish as it does in the ships.
Ahí está. Eventualmente la energía se repondrá al igual que lo hacen las naves. O sea que sí. Eso es un cambio gordo, ¿eh? Es un cambio muy gordo para las armas de energía.
In terms of armor, am I going to go to a harsh environment? Am I going to need to worry about extreme temperature? Am I going to need to worry about, heavy armor versus light armor? Because eventually, with medium and heavy armor, you're not going to be able to fly a ship. You'll have to stow those away. So, and then it's like, well, am I going to
Está comentando otra cosa más importante, es decir, voy a llevar una armadura ligera, una armadura pesada, una armadura media, porque eventualmente con una armadura media o pesada no voy a ser capaz de volar una nave. Es decir, para volar una nave entiendo que está diciendo que necesitamos armadura ligera. Aparte está hablando, bueno, pues sobre todo las consideraciones de lo que es el entorno, frío, calor.
need to be in combat as soon as I get out of the ship? So there's all these different things, and then you've got to think of things like, I'm going to be hungry, am I going to be thirsty, and what type of foods am I going to take, and what type of
Sí, además tienes que tener en cuenta qué tipo de comida voy a llevar, voy a tener sed, voy a tener hambre.
drinks am I going to take in terms of, do I want stamina regeneration buff, or do I want certain types of buffs to play into that combat?
Claro, luego, ¿qué tipo de beneficios quieres que te den basados en la comida? Pues hay comidas que dan beneficios diferentes. Si quieres estamina, si quieres, o sea, si quieres, bueno, estamina sería aguante, ¿no? Si quieres aguante, resistencia, ¿no? Si quieres otra cosa más.
And all of that, and that doesn't even include things like gadgets and throwables, and when you take all of those things that you actually think, okay, I actually use a lot of those things in combat in terms of how my actor status is playing. I don't want to turn up weakened, I want to be at peak condition, in terms of the environment's going to affect me and so on and so forth. When you don't have that at the drop of the hat, that is a game changer. That fundamentally.
Claro, dice que cuando no tienes todas esas posibilidades en el inventario, que eso es un game changer, ¿no? Que cambia totalmente la forma de juego. Imaginaros que queréis ir a Microtech ahora mismo, pero que tenéis inventario local y queréis hacer una misión, pues tendréis que ir primero a equiparos vuestro traje y luego ir con ese traje y luego ir para allá. O sea, y además con el traje de la armadura pesada, justamente con esa armadura pesada, pues igual, pues por ejemplo, tenemos que ir con los compañeros, tenemos que ir con los galas, tenemos que ir con una Valkyria a hacer la misión. ¿Por qué con una Valkyria? O con una Vanguard Hoplite. Pues porque la Vanguard Hoplite o la Valkyria sí puede ir gente con armadura pesada. Entonces habría que ver si tienen la posibilidad esas armaduras de ir ahí equipadas o si no de llevar un sitio donde pueda llevar armaduras, ¿no? O sea, y el piloto quedarse ahí porque con una armadura pesada no se puede pilotar, etcétera. O sea, imaginaros el tema, ¿no?
Actually changes how you approach leaving the beautiful metropolises of the landing zones and all of the nice and, you know, happy furry areas that you can stay in,
And
and
the
going
safety
to
of your
these
ship and
harsh
stuff, yeah.
environments. Exactly. And at that point you have to go, well, okay, I've got a limited space. I can't just take 1,000 med pens anymore. I can only take like, okay, 5 or 6. Maybe I have to store some in my backpack. And
Claro, de repente pues solo vas a poder llevar 5 o 6, quizás tengas que 5 o 6 medpens, quizás tengas que llevar algunos en la mochila.
you know, I have to take some food and got to take ammo, and well, I'm going to need oxygen, and you know, and all of a sudden you're starting to think of, well, I can't
Oh, hi
take.
there,
It's like you're
Discolando.
going on holiday, right? You might be going for 2 weeks, and you can't be like, well, it's going to be. Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? You know, you have to limit what you can take, and so you have to really think about those situations that you're going to be in. So once you get into combat, all of the previous decisions that you've made are going to influence how that combat plays out.
Claro, está diciendo que todas las decisiones que tomes van a influir en cómo, en el futuro de lo que hagas para el combate, ¿no? Del desarrollo de tu combate, todas las decisiones que tomes.
And that's why when you take the whole of the core gameplay loop, you know, there is a beginning in terms of the preparation, in terms of how you set up. And, you know, there's that preparation also bleeds up into, you know, you might be scouting a particular area that you've seen and there's enemy AI, and, you know, you're using a gadget to kind of map out where they are. You know, you're looking with binoculars or your scope, you're tagging enemies and tagging them onto the FPS radar and scanning. You know, you're scanning particular things. Maybe there's a bounty down there that you want to get. And, you know, and all of that ties into your preparation phase. Then obviously the
Claro, están hablando de la posibilidad también de que nosotros lleguemos al campo del asunto, que tengamos unos binoculares, con esos binoculares podremos analizar lo que es el terreno, que quizás vemos una recompensa que nos interese y que todo eso es parte de la preparación del inventario de cara al futuro. O sea que la verdad es que nos acaban de decir muchas cosas en el sentido de cómo realmente podemos enfrentarnos a las misiones del día de mañana. Que quizás tengas que pues llevar un escáner, ver la posición de los enemigos y todo eso. O sea, está muy chulo, ¿eh?
combat phase, in terms of, you know, you engaging your plan, reacting to what happens, you know, how that pans out. And then there is also a post combat phase which completes the loop, and that post combat phase is
Voy a parar un segundo. Chicos, sí, es Discolando. Just my followers are asking Discolando if it's real you. I think that yes, it is. I guess. I don't seem in Twitch is another Discolando. So yeah. Say hi.
you know, the looting
Decirle hola,
mechanics in
chavales.
terms of, okay, what can I take? And, you know, if you're like full to the brim with like, hey, I just filled my backpack, well, you know, you're not going to be able to just carry everything out. And you might be like, oh, well, actually, I'm going to drag this guy back to my ship. Or, you know, maybe I want to take someone alive. And so when you talk about the full combat loop, you can see that whole premise of how just physical inventory by itself becomes a huge game changer. So physical inventory.
Claro, cuando vemos todo el loop de lo que es el combate, desde la salida hasta la llegada, la ejecución del combate, vemos como el inventario físico es una parte muy importante de todo este loop, ¿no? De toda la mecánica de combate.
By a feature in itself, we've kind of slowly started to add it every patch. So we started with the commodity inventory with FPS mining in terms of having a backpack and storing commodities in there. And that was always going to be a temporary solution because it's to support mining. You can see now with the personal inner thought that, you know, we have the wheel and you can see where you're mining. And that is actually going to be changed to what we're calling now is the external inventory. And
vale, están comentando de que lo que vemos ahora de los minerales y todo lo que pillamos. ¡Ey! Gracias por la suscripción, Roibos. Hostia, qué buena. Está comentando de que lo que vemos ahora de la minería y demás, de cómo pillamos las minería a mano, de cómo enganchamos las piedras y las guardamos en la mochila, que eso todo va a cambiar, que ahora mismo es una solución temporal, que luego vamos a ver eso en un inventario que le llaman el inventario externo. No sé si os acordáis de esos cubitos que nos mostraban, cómo iban colocando el inventario con piezas de Tetris, o sea, como si fueran piezas de Tetris, representando lo que serían los espacios que ocuparían los objetos en el futuro.
It was never the intention that it was always going to be a wheel. It was actually going to go to a grid system now.
Mhm.
But it won't be just a grid system like, you're having to manage everything in the grid or you're playing Tetris or anything like that. It's actually a really innovative system where it's almost like a list, but almost think of it like when you're moving an app on an iPhone,
Right.
how it
automatically
melds
readjusts
around
everything.
that. Yeah.
Claro, dice que efectivamente acaba de hablar de Tetris, de que dice que sería como algo parecido como cuando mueves una... O sea, que vas a tener los inventarios listados, pero que también vas a tener que colocarlos como si fuera parecido a lo que serían las app, o sea, una aplicación en un teléfono, ¿no? Que vas a tener que moverlo, sí, en ese plan.
And so what that gives us, it gives us an overview of your character, an overview of all of the items that you're going to have, and you're going to be able to directly interface with your character and the items that you have, and vice versa, you'll be able to directly interface with external inventory. So for example, other players' backpacks on the ground, or crates, or cargo, or whatever, anything that doesn't have necessarily a physical representation in the world. It might have a physical volume represented in the game, but those things aren't necessarily inside of it. So that
A ver, aquí he dicho una cosa que me he perdido. Dame un segundo, vamos a ver.
And so what that gives us, it gives us an overview of your character, an overview of all of the items that you're going to have, and you're going to be able to directly interface with your character and the items that you have.
Vale, dice que lo que nos da la aplicación esta de inventario, del external inventory, es que vamos a poder ver todo lo que lleva nuestro personaje, todo lo que tenemos, vamos a poder interactuar con eso, vamos a poder tener una visión general, una vista general de todo lo que de todos los objetos que tenemos.
And vice versa, you'll be able to directly interface with external inventory. So for
A ver, quieto. Vamos a volver otra vez, que es que tener a Disco hablando aquí tira el pecho, cuidado. Ah.
anything like that, it's actually a really innovative system where it's almost like a list, but it almost think of it like when you're moving an app on an iPhone.
Right.
How it
automatically
melds
readjusts
around
everything.
that. Yeah. And so what that gives us, it gives us an overview of your character, an overview of all of the items that you're going to have, and you're going to be able to directly interface with your character and the items that you have, and vice versa, you'll be able to directly interface with external inventory. So for example, other players' backpacks on the ground, or crates, or cargo, or whatever, anything that doesn't have necessarily a physical representation in the world. It might have a physical volume represented in the game, but those things aren't necessarily...
Vale, aquí se refiere a que cualquier cosa que no tenga su representación física en el mundo, quizás sí tenga una caja que represente que hay ese contenido y que dentro sí podremos ver las cosas que hay, ¿no?
So that what I just described there is kind of like the end goal, and that's when we have...
Claro, y eso es el producto final al que quieren llegar, ¿no? De que pues abras una caja y veas pues todo lo que hay dentro, ¿no? Como podemos ver, pues por ejemplo, en el Escape from Tarkov, ¿no? El Escape from Tarkov, abres una caja, ves allí el arma, todo eso, ¿no?
Item persistence and iCache comes online.
Y cuando venga la persistencia de objetos y cuando venga el iCache, pues todo eso lo vamos a tener.
But the first kind of next step is to kind of interact that external inventory, that UI interface, which will be an extension of the personal and the thought.
Claro, pero el primer paso para eso es primero tener el inventario externo de lo que hablo, ese inventario externo, que será una extensión del personal thoughts, que es la del circulito ese que tenemos ahí delante para interactuar cuando damos F clic derecho.
As it is now, you can still just press I and open the inventory. And you will have the grid-based system, and it'll still be just commodities at the beginning. So that means that food and drink or minables, the things that you can currently put in your backpack, you'll be able to still put in your backpack. But it means that when we have, like, say, be able to interact with the cargo hold and be like, hey, I can put things directly in there or take FPS minables out of there.
Vale, pero el resultado será que ahora no solo tendremos, o sea, tendremos los materiales de mirado o todos los objetos los tendremos metidos como una especie de mochila y luego eso podremos interactuar con esos objetos y con el cargo hold, que el cargo hold pues imagino que será lo de la bahía de carga de la nave o algo así, como pues un espacio de carga de la nave en el que podamos traspasar las cosas, ¿no?
And that'll be
O nave o base o lo que sea para el futuro, ¿no? Digamos que tener un espacio de carga aparte, independiente, ¿no? Que podamos pasar las cosas a ese espacio.
kind of like the next iteration, and you can see that we're slowly but surely moving towards that, and eventually that then will become full items can be able to go in there, and then you'll have your character in the middle that you'll be able to switch around, take items directly off your character into the interface and back and forth. And so
Claro, y en el futuro seremos capaces de también pillar objetos, o sea, pues como se hace en el Tarkov, o sea, que vas a ver tu inventario, vas a poder seleccionar objetos y vas a poder colocárselos a tu personaje e interactuar de esa manera, ¿no?
that kind of gives you kind of what physical inventory is on the character level and external inventory on the UI. But that is such a wide-ranging thing, because as soon as you say you can't carry everything, you need the physicalized storage on ships, you need it in habs, your hangar. So yeah, I mean, when we get to there, and we will get to there, it will be an incredible moment, because the tech and the iCache and the item persistency will be online, and we will have a very different game than we have today.
Que además dice que cuando tengamos ese sistema todo de inventario personal, pues que surgirá la necesidad de también tener un inventario en lo que es en las naves, en lo que es en los hangares, ¿no? Entonces que a partir de ahí será cuando esté también el iCache y la persistencia de objetos, y que realmente pues será un momento en el que verdaderamente cambie la forma en la que estamos jugando al juego.
Absolutely. Who would have thought you could talk for 7 minutes about inventory and its importance to PvP? And I'm willing to bet that was the short version.
That was the short version.
Está diciendo Discolando ahí en el vídeo, ¿no? Que dice que sí, que quién diría que daría como 7 minutos para hablar sobre el inventario local relacionado con el PvP, y estoy seguro de que era la versión corta, y dice sí, era la versión corta.
It's the short version.
But to be honest, Jared, what I'm actually going to say is you can't talk to me about PvP without talking to me about Theatres of War.
Fair enough. You want to call Sean in on the? You want to add Sean to the call and just
Absolutely.
Let's chat.
Let's get him
Theatres
in.
of War. All right, let's do it. Sean, how you doing? Welcome to Calling
Hi.
All Devs.
Thanks.
All right, we are talking Theatres of War. We're talking POP, PvP,
PvP.
PvP and Theatres of War. Give us the top level. How are we doing?
Que vamos a hablar del PvP en Theatres of War, que cómo va la cosa.
How's it doing?
Well, technically, it's not just PvP, by the way. It's kind of PvP VE a little bit, just because we've got some AI ships going on in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, mostly PvP between it. It's been going really well.
Está comentando que en realidad es un poquito de PvE también, porque hay algunas naves que están volándose por la IA por ahí, pero la mayor parte de lo que es Theatres of War es PvP, jugar contra el jugador, y que de momento que está yendo bien la cosa.
Super excited to have gotten it out for 2 large weekend tests with the Avocati. And it was really important for us to be able to do this, and I wish we could have done it even sooner than we did, but we had a lot of work to do right after CitizenCon, and this might be rehashing some of the stuff, but we had to update to Planet V4, we had to consume some of the physics refactors, and we had to coexist within a certain stream, so just took a little bit of time to.
Dice que después de la CitizenCon, que hubo oportunidad de que lo probasen también los Evocati durante un largo periodo de tiempo, pero que han tenido que enfrentarse a otros problemas, como otros problemas no, más bien situaciones, mejorías que se le ha dado al juego, como es la tecnología V4, el server OCS, y que que han tardado un poquito más de la cuenta, ¿no?
To keep everything running.
Para tener todo en marcha.
And how's it going now? We've had 2 tests. You just did an AMA on Spectrum. What's next for Theatres of War? What's the path forward look like?
Well, yeah, sort of first, I guess, how it all went, which is what you were asking in the first place there. But it did go quite well. The first test was a little bit rough in terms of performance, and we all recognized that right out of the gate. We didn't recognize quite how bad that would get, and that really comes down to we've only got a certain set of team, and then the development group, which is all of CIG, and then Evocati. So it's like this slow scaling that we've been doing, and I've been treating this very very specifically, so that every time we do scale, we can actually take action on the things that come up during that scaling, because always, things come up, and it's a lot broader than just the game as well. Some of the big things that we had to work on anyways were to do with matchmaking, to do with party join.
De las circunstancias claro, que a medida que van desarrollando lo que es el ciclo software, primero tienen que enfrentarse a una escala más pequeña, más comedida, sería el equipo de pruebas de Cloud Imperium Games, y luego tendría lo que es el equipo de Bocati, que aumenta la escala, por lo tanto reciben un feedback más grande y de otra manera también, y... y mierda. Y que una de las cosas que tenían que preocuparse también es de cómo se hace el matchmaking, ¿no? El encontrar grupos, el encontrar partida y el cómo se realizan las invitaciones.
To do with squads, those kind of things. So
Claro, para lidiar con squads, ¿no? Con grupos grandes y ese tipo de cosas.
the first Avocati test, definitely had some performance problems. We spent a whole sprint focused on it. It was like, I think 80% of the changes. It was something like, 170, 180 changes that came in from not just the Theaters of War group or the Arena Commander group, but the rest of the company as well. And all of these things ended up benefiting the PU. So when everybody's going to be getting together within the PU, whether that's these 20 on 20 battles or full 50 players, you actually see that the performance is dramatically improved because of all the things that we've actually done.
Claro, dice que han hecho cantidad de mejoras y que, bueno, la mayoría de las cosas que han hecho, el PU se ha beneficiado de ellas y que ahora, pues, teniendo un grupo de casi 50 personas batallando, pues ha facilitado que se mejore mucho el rendimiento también de las batallas en el PU.
And in some cases, we might have gone a little too far trying to optimize, the art against some of the game code. All of these things really are the bits that we learned while we were doing it. So one of the big things that we saw was, server performance was great. That was running at a solid frame rate. Really had no hitches as far as the server was concerned. But when we scaled up our concurrency to about 5 times what we had tried previously, we had some things going on with the matchmaker. So we had to take care of that.
A ver, un segundito que me he perdido.
Solid frame rate really are the bits that we learned while we were doing it. So one of the big things that we saw was, server performance was great. That was running at a solid frame rate.
Bueno, una de las cosas que vimos fue que el rendimiento del servidor era genial. Teníamos un buen rendimiento en FPS
really
constantes.
had no hitches as far as the server was concerned. But when we scaled up our concurrency to about 5 times what we had tried previously, we had some things going on with the matchmaker. So we had to
Pero cuando escalamos el producto, ¿no? El sitio software para que lo probase más gente, pues en la fase Bogatti, pues tuvimos algunos problemas con el matchmaking, el jugador de grupos.
take care of that. A lot of that came down to party joins and some of the logic that would go on within there, because, as everyone might be aware, we utilize all the Arena Commander, Star Marine infrastructure and matchmaker. So a lot of it is either updating that, fixing things that have rotted, or making it more fit for purpose as we're going through. One of the other things that we spent a lot of time was putting analytics in, so that when we did do these tests, it wasn't just a matter of getting sort of anecdotal feedback. There's very hard data for us to make some decisions on, and some of the things that come out of it are pretty interesting. And I kind of jokingly sent an update through, I think to Bayor, and he put it online, which was that the fire extinguisher got a kill.
Vale, dice que a la hora de analizar los datos del juego cuando juegan partidas, no solo recibieron feedback de la gente anecdótico, ¿no? Sino que también han puesto una herramienta potente de análisis de la que han recibido datos muy interesantes, como por ejemplo lo que puso Bayor del extintor que se cargó a una persona, ¿no?
And we're going, okay.
O sea, un jugador, vamos.
Where is that fire extinguisher?
¿Dónde está ¿Dónde coño está el extintor? ¿No?
Well, there is in Star Marine levels, and they explode, but this wasn't how somebody got a kill. This was a physical impact thing that happened with that. so happens a chair, just to add to the mystery, a chair got 2 kills. This was a Valkyrie chair.
Vale, dice que es que es una muerte física, que no es que haya explotado algo, que también una silla consiguió matar a 2
Chair
personas.
got 2 kills.
Consiguió 2
So
muertes, ¿no?
if you didn't get 2 kills during the avocado test, you were worse than a chair. It's good info.
Así que si no consigues 2 muertes durante el test de Bocati, eres peor que una
One
silla.
of the fundamental difference as well to cover where we want to go next is, you know, if you look at theaters as a breakdown of, you know, the gameplay systems from the PU in terms of the FPS action, the combat action, and all of those things like put into one big pot, we got some incredible feedback from the community in terms of, you know, how the handling, you know.
Claro, si pensamos en el Theater of War como una herramienta para desarrollar el combate en general, tanto FPS como naves, como todo lo que significa, pues hemos recogido, comenta, un increíble feedback, ¿no? de la comunidad.
The character feeling, you know, is the objective right in terms of the balance, the layout of the map? And we sat down and we read through all of that feedback. We broke it down, and, you know, we got some gold dust from that feedback, and we've
Claro, dice que tanto lo que es las sensaciones de que le daba a la gente lo de Theater of War, si los objetivos estaban bien hechos, estaban bien planteados, y que el feedback que consiguieron, pues que fue oro para ellos, ¿no? Que encontraron ahí pues, cosas muy interesantes.
created a plan for the next test of Theatre of War, and I think you'll find that when we come to it next, it's going to play dramatically different. I think it will feel more Star Citizen in the best of way, and I think that's something that I think with theaters when we started out, it's kind of, you can kind of say like with Arena Commander and Star Marine when they started out, they're kind of very distilled experiences themselves. Mm-hmm. And when you think of Theaters of War, you know, what we took to CitizenCon, we're still kind of putting those together, and we were kind of learning.
Está comentando de que ahora lo que vamos a tener en el Theaters of War, que es una experiencia mucho más Star Citizen que antes, ¿no? Que se va a parecer mucho más Star Citizen.
You know, how they best fit together, and these last 2 tests have really given us some more information, both from a quantitative point of view in terms of the analytics that we got back, and we had a lot of analytics in there, and from a qualitative point of view in terms of the, you know, speaking to the guys, reading the discords, having a look on Reddit, having a look in our own forums. We got a lot of internal feedback because, I mean, we were playing, literally the whole company was playing that Theatre War.
Y aparte de que también han conseguido feedback interno porque la compañía entera estaba jugando a Theaters of War, o sea que no solo han conseguido feedback a través de Reddit o a través de otras plataformas, sino que también internamente, o sea que se les ve entusiasmados, ¿no? Por el Theaters of War.
Literally like every day for a good like 2 months before we went live, and to try and get like, you know, how did it play, and to make sure that we were playing it and getting feedback. So we got a lot of that done, and I think the next version is going to feel more responsive. It will have a lot of the things that make Star Citizen unique and great, and it will definitely feel like more of a Star Citizen game mode, and that is something that we're really endeavoring to push for. So I think it's an incredible opportunity for us to push on that, and that's why really that we haven't just gone, hey, Evocati, thanks for that, let's improve performance, push it to BTU, push it live, because we want to get it right, and that's why we're utilizing these testing slots to give us that information.
Claro, dice que el hecho está en que han mejorado cada vez más el Theaters of War hasta que se parezca más Star Citizen, que dé la sensación que ellos quieren, y que es uno de los motivos por el cual no han soltado todavía el Theaters of War a un público más amplio, porque quieren todavía machacarlo más, darle más pruebas para conseguir ese producto deseado, ese producto que ellos quieren traer, ¿no? Lo consideran importante.
Sounds like
100%.
a great example of how the process is supposed to work. It's
Yeah.
you develop small, you do internal testing, then you push it out to the wider group, you get the feedback, you bring it back in, then you push.
Don't go further until, you know, such a time that you're actually prepared for that, and that comes down to everything again, performance.
Claro, dice que tú no, dice Sin Tracy que tú no vas más allá hasta que consigas algo sólido, ¿no? Porque si vas más allá y no te puedes enfrentar a lo que viene, pues de ahí porque el desarrollo va por partes, ¿no? Primero se hace pues de pequeño a más grande, ¿no? Y así para todo lo que están haciendo en Star Citizen.
Gameplay and the balance.
And for those wondering, how do I become a member of Evocati? It's the Issue Council. Submit your bugs, submit your reports, validate the reports of other people. Participation in the Evocati means citizenship. I was trying to do the Starship Troopers thing and I missed it. Anyway, Sean, Richard,
Dice que estaba intentando hacer un guiño a Starship Troopers para decir que cómo puede ser Evocati. Bueno, pues que tienes que ir al Issue Council, poner errores, corroborar errores que haya puesto otra gente y que bueno, pues que de esa manera pues es como puedes llegar a ser seleccionado para Evocati.
thank you so much. Of course, though, this won't be the last time we're talking Theaters of War before all is said and done. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Well, that's it for this month's PvP-focused episode of Calling All Devs. I want to thank Todd Pappy, Richard Tyrer, and Sean Tracy for taking the time to be here on the show with us this week. Remember that you can submit your questions for consideration for every episode of Calling All Devs up in the thread, up on Spectrum. There should be a new thread going up shortly if it's not up already when you see this. So for Calling All Devs, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you next month.
Bueno, pues que tenemos otro hilo ya para que la gente pueda preguntar en Spectrum y la verdad es que así. Ole. Pedazo de... O sea, me mola el rollo que va a llevar el PvP. Me mola muchísimo, chicos. Y bueno, pues como siempre voy a cortar para que luego esto quede para el YouTube. Y nos vemos ahora.